Welcome to Stories That Hurt. Here, we share stories that touch the heart, stories that invite you to pause, feel, and reflect. The teacher who paid for the Buza story of sacrifice, hope, and the power of one person's belief in the small town of Willow Creek, Alabama, where cotton fields stretched endlessly and opportunities seemed just as distant. James Carter taught history at Lincoln High School. The school building, with its peeling paint and outdated textbooks, stood as a testament to decades of underfunding. But inside room 204, something different happened every day. Mr. Carter didn't just teach dates and events. He taught dreams. History isn't just about the past, he would tell his students, his voice carrying the weight of conviction. It's about understanding where we came from so we can decide where we're going. And every single one of you, you're going to go somewhere. Most of his students came from families where college seemed like a fantasy reserved for other people's children. Their parents worked double shifts at the poultry plant or cleaned houses in the wealthier neighborhoods 2 counties over. College was something they saw on TV, not something they believed they could touch, but James Carter believed differently. November 20th, 2023. The idea came to him on a cold November morning. He was grading papers at 5 a.m., his second cup of coffee already empty, when he saw the flyer, Spring College Tour Program. Give your students a glimpse of their future. The cost: $2,400 for a charter bus to visit 3 universities over 2 days. He looked at the school's budget request form, already knowing the answer. Lincoln High had cut the music program last year. The library hadn't received new books in 3 years. There was no money for a college tour. James stared at the flyer for a long time. Then he opened his laptop and looked at his bank account. Between his teacher's salary and the weekend shifts he picked up at Home Depot, he had been saving for a new car. His current one had 187,000 miles, and a check engine light that had been on for 2 years. He closed the laptop and picked up the phone. Yes. I'd like to book a charter bus for April 16th, he said quietly, so his wife sleeping in the next room wouldn't hear. For 40 students, March 14th, 2024, listen up everyone. Mr. Carter announced to his junior class, barely containing his excitement. I have some incredible news. In 1 month, we're going on a college tour. We're going to visit Auburn University, the University of Alabama, and Tuskegee University. The classroom erupted. Some students cheered. Others sat in stunned silence. Deshaun, who sat in the back row and rarely spoke, raised his hand. Mr. C, how much does it cost? My mom can't afford. It's free, James interrupted gently. Everything is covered. The bus, the tours, the meals. All you need to bring is yourself and an open mind. What he didn't tell them was that he'd taken on a 3rd job, stocking shelves at the grocery store from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. 3 nights a week. He didn't mention that his wife had found out about the bus payment, and they'd had their biggest fight in 15 years of marriage. He didn't say that he'd sold his grandfather's vintage record collection. To cover the meal costs, he just smiled and handed out the permission. Slips, April 15th, 2024. The night before, James couldn't sleep. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if he'd made a terrible mistake. What if the students didn't care? What if they spent the whole trip on their phones, unimpressed? What if he'd sacrificed all this money for nothing? His wife, Sarah, rolled over and took his hand. You did the right thing, she whispered. I'm sorry I was angry. Those kids need someone to believe in them. You're showing them they're worth investing in. What if it doesn't change anything? He asked, what if it changes everything? She replied, April 16th, 2024 to 6 o'clock a.m., the charter bus pulled up to Lincoln High School just as the sun was rising, painting the Alabama sky in shades of pink and gold. 40 students, many who had never left their county, climbed aboard with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Maya, one of his brightest students, sat near the front. She'd been accepted to the school's AVID program, a college preparatory initiative, but had never actually seen a college campus except in brochures. Mr. Carter, she said as the bus pulled away. Thank you for doing this. He nodded, his throat tight with emotion. Thank you for coming. First stop, Auburn University. When the bus pulled onto Auburn's campus, the students pressed their faces against the windows. The sprawling green quads, the modern buildings. The The students walking with purpose and backpacks, it was like entering another world. Their tour guide, a junior named Jessica, was from a small town in Mississippi. I was the first person in my family to go to college, she told them. I was terrified. But you know what? You belong here just as much as anyone else. Deshaun, who had been quiet the entire ride, asked, "How did you pay for it?" Jessica smiled. Scholarships, grants, work study, and a lot of determination. There are people who want to help you get here. You just have to be willing to work for it. Something shifted in Deshaun's eyes. James saw it, that flicker of possibility replacing doubt. Second stop, University of Alabama at Alabama. They toured the engineering facilities, the business school, and sat in on a real college lecture. The professor, noticing the high school students in the back, paused his lecture. "Welcome to the University of Alabama," he said. "Some of you might be thinking college isn't for you. I'm here to tell you that's not true. I grew up in a trailer park in rural Georgia. My mother cleaned houses. My father worked construction. But I'm here now, and so can you be." After the lecture, a girl named Kayla approached Mr. Carter, tears streaming down her face. "I never thought..." She couldn't finish the sentence. "I never thought someone like me could be in a place like this." James put a hand on her shoulder. "Kayla, you're one of the smartest students I've ever taught. This isn't just possible for you. This is waiting for you." Third stop, Tuskegee University. Tuskegee was different. As a historically Black university, it carried a weight of history and pride that resonated deeply with many of the students. They learned about the Tuskegee Airmen, about George Washington Carver, about generations of students who had fought for the right to learn. The admissions counselor, Mr. Louis, spoke to them in the chapel. "Your teacher brought you here because he sees something in you," he said. "He sees your potential. He sees your future. Now the question is, do you see it?" He paused, letting the question hang in the air. "College isn't easy. It's going to challenge you. It's going to push you. But it's also going to transform you. It's going to open doors you didn't even know existed. And when you walk through those doors, you're not just changing your own life, you're changing your family's life, your community's life for generations to come." On the bus ride home, the students were different. They talked about majors and scholarships and dorm life. They talked about dreams they'd been afraid to say out loud. May 2024, 3 weeks later, Ms. Graham, the school counselor, knocked on James's classroom door after school. "I need to talk to you," she said. And he braced himself for bad news. Since that college tour, I've had 23 students come to my office asking about college applications. 23, James. Last year I had 5. She handed him a folder. Inside were scholarship applications, college inquiry forms, and handwritten notes from students. One note from Deshaun read, "Mr. C, I'm going to be the first person in my family to go to college. Thank you for showing me it was possible." James had to sit down. His hands were shaking. "What you did," Ms. Graham said softly. "It mattered." Asterisk June 2030. 6 years later, Maya stood at the podium in Lincoln High School's auditorium. Now a college graduate with a degree in education. She'd come back to speak to the current junior class about a new program she'd started. 6 years ago, my teacher paid for a bus out of his own pocket so we could see what our future could look like, she told the students. That trip changed my life. It changed a lot of our lives. She clicked to the next slide in her presentation. That's why I started the Bus Ticket Fund. It's a nonprofit that pays for college tours for students in underfunded schools across Alabama. Last year, we sent 500 students to visit colleges. This year, we're hoping to reach 1,000. In the back of the auditorium, James Carter sat with tears streaming down his face. He'd retired from teaching the year before, his body worn out from years of multiple jobs and early mornings. But he'd come back for this after the presentation. Maya found him. "None of this happens without you," she said, hugging him tightly. "No," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "This was always you. I just paid for the bus. Asterisk epilogue of the 40 students who went on that college tour in April 2024. 32 applied to college. 27 were accepted. 23 enrolled. Deshaun graduated from Auburn University with a degree in mechanical engineering and now works for NASA. Kayla became a nurse and works at the regional hospital. providing care to the community she grew up in. Others became teachers, business owners, social workers, and accountants. Some stayed in Willow Creek, bringing their education and dreams back home. Others spread across the country, carrying with them the lesson that someone had believed in them enough to invest in their future. James Carter never told his students that he'd paid for the bus. He never wanted recognition or praise. But word got out, as it always does in small towns. At his retirement party, the school presented him with a plaque. It read, "To James Carter, who taught us that history is made by ordinary people who refuse to accept that the future is already written. Thank you for showing us we could write our own story." Beneath it, 40 signatures, the students from that bus trip, each one now writing their own chapter. Asterisk author's note. This story is fictional, but it's rooted in a very real truth. Teachers across America spend an average of $750 of their own money each year on their students. Many spend far more. They buy supplies, pay for field trips, and invest in their students' futures because they believe in the transformative power of education. This story is dedicated to every teacher who has ever reached into their own pocket to give their students a chance. You are seen, you are valued, and you are changing the world, one student at a time. Asterisk final ending added conclusion years later in 2045. A new yellow school bus rolled into Willow Creek for the first time in decades. This one didn't belong to Lincoln High School. Painted on its side were the words, "The Carter College Tour Program." Inside the bus sat a new generation of students, some nervous, some excited, some pretending not to care at all. Many of them were children of the very students who had once sat on that first bus in 22-4. At the front stood Deshaun, now an engineer volunteering his time. Maya sat beside him, reviewing the itinerary. Kayla had donated medical supplies for the trip. None of them were famous. None of them thought of themselves as heroes. They were simply paying something forward. Before the bus pulled away, a young freshman raised her hand. "Why is it called the Carter Program?" She asked. Maya smiled. "Because once, a long time ago, a teacher believed students like us were worth the cost." The bus doors closed. The engine started. And just like that, the cycle began again. Back at Lincoln High School, room 204 had been renovated. New desks, new books. On the wall hung a simple framed quote. "You don't have to change the whole world. Just change one student's view of it." No portrait, no statue, just words. And somewhere, in the lives of thousands of students who would never know his name, James Carter's lesson continued quietly, steadily, endlessly proving that the most powerful legacy is not what you keep, but what you give away.